Well, happy new year to you and you and you and you. I am just so thrilled to see another year and to enjoy all my friends on the YouTube. Well, I'm Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam 2016. Yay! Just when you thought it was over, hey, I'm back. Well, listen, last year's gone. We're going to have to start looking forward. Whatever happened last year, we're just going to keep pushing forward into this new year. And of course, being part of the knit and crochet community, I'm still excited. I'm still having fun. I hope you are too. And I want to welcome back all my friends, both near and far. And I thank you for telling your friends. And I thank you to everyone who's new to my channel. I'm telling you, we've got a party going on. And we want you to be a part of it. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that we can start the new year. I'm excited. I want you to be excited. And of course, I want to have, I have a lot of new projects. Everything is, like I said, 2016, you know what? I decided this is the year that you're going to knit and crochet for yourself. That's what I'm starting out with. You're going to knit and crochet for yourself. You're just as important and you're deserving as all the gifts you've given to others. Now, this year, we're going to talk about ourselves. And, I always knit and crochet for myself. And like I said, we have a lot of new projects that I'm working on, new yarns. Oh my gosh, I'm just overrun with yarns. I've overdid it. But that's okay. Look, we're enjoying the company. I'm enjoying your company, and I hope you're enjoying mine. And always feel free to come by and knit or crochet with me anytime you feel like it. Isn't this wonderful? Well, right off the bat, to start the new year, the format will stay pretty much the same, but as I find new things to bring in, say for instance, I had no idea that so many of you really wanted to know more about stitch books. I just kind of like, okay, maybe I need to throw something else in, kind of break up my tutorials, because that's what I enjoy doing, are the step-by-step tutorials. And I'm telling you, the response has been overwhelming. I did not know that so many were so interested in stitch books. So thank you for watching the first episode of Jay's stitch book review. And I did a knit one. And of course, as time goes on, this year, I'm going to start just automatically adding stitch book reviews. And they may not be that long. I may just do 1 or 2 books, or if I find something new, I'll just throw that in there, just do a little tutorial on different stitch books. And also, I want to tell you about some of the stitch books I have that are like, that we celebrate our icons of knit and crochet. So, I've got all kind of things going on in my head. I'm so excited. And I want you to be too. And something else that's exciting about my channel this year that you're going to see. Well, every year, as you know, I have, my little format. I usually start off with my pictures, and I'm going to do that, continue with that, and bring you some pretty music or whatever. But I always like to have a calendar, just to have something. And in the past, I've always just used stock calendars, just calendars you buy somewhere that are from China, just stock calendars. But this year I decided I wanted something with more meaning, or that had something, had words of encouragement or something, without getting too, I wanted it to be broad, and I wanted it to be soft and lovely. so that all my friends could enjoy it. And I bought this calendar. I was over doing the sale during Christmas, and I was looking through the calendars trying to come up with something. And I came across this calendar, and the name of this calendar is Favorite Things 2016, and it's by Wendy Bentley. Wendy Bentley, and she's published by Lane. The Lane publishers that do the calendars, and I want you to see this envelope that I saw, and I picked it up and I looked, and I thought, oh, how pretty and whimsical this is. And I thought, you know, Jay, you could use a little more whimsy. Because, you know, I enjoy having fun. So I thought, you know, a little more whimsy might be good for you. So I brought this calendar home with the idea, well, you know, I'll use this calendar. Wouldn't that be nice to have it as, like I say, as my other, you know, like a backdrop, like I've just done little stock calendars that I've, you know, got at the, who knows, discount store. But once I got home and realized, you know, this is a licensed product. This is from, like I say, it's published by Lane. And the artist is, like I said, Wendy Bentley. So I thought, perhaps I should contact her first. And I did. And now Jay's Knit and Purl Jam has a brand new friend. And she's excited and I'm excited, and I want to give a big thank you to my new friend, Wendy Bentley over at Lane's Calendars and Accessories. And I'm going to put a link to the bottom. Not only does she has calendars, she also has other accessories, you know, like your notepads and your all kind of note cards and anything that you need that will go along with your calendar, and quite a few. And you can go and visit her at her site and take a tour of her art studio. She's a beautiful artist, and so I want you to get to know her just like I have just got to know her, and she is just wonderful. So we're going to take a trip month by month with this beautiful calendar, Favorite Things in the Wendy Bentley collection. And right off the bat, the very first, I won't give the others away, just since you've already seen this one, because it will be up when you start. But look at this. Look at that. Is that not? Look. Beautiful, soft, encouraging words. In the quiet stillness of winter, there is peace. Isn't that just beautiful? Just take a look at the calendar as I move it slowly. I just wanted you to enjoy and to know and to go over and look at her many other calendars. You've probably seen them just like I had in the store, but I didn't know. But now you do. So, this calendar has become my inspiration. And from the very first picture of my little owl friend, guess what? Jay, look at our first project of the year. My winter bracelet sleeve cardigan with a pretty roll neck. And look at this yarn. You won't believe I picked this yarn out of my stash. Of course, you know I'm gonna go off, you know, I'm gonna go through the yarn and everything. But isn't this pretty? Look, I mean, and it fits. And look, none of that bagging under the arm. Look, my sleeve. Everything is so nice. It feels great. It fits great. I love it. And I can't wait to share it with you. So, I don't have any shout outs because I really hadn't been out. I just wanted to enjoy the quietness of the holidays I wanted to immerse myself in my different stitch books. I wanted to have my mind clear, so as I looked at the calendar to see if I could come up with something to fit the whimsy of Wendy's beautiful calendar. And I think this is. I think I can. And I think you can too. So, I'm so pleased to have you back. I'm so pleased we're getting the year started. We're going to start on the ground. We're going to run. We're not going to slow down. We're not going to have little, long pauses in between. We're going to just continue. Like I say, this is a year for you to knit and crochet for yourself. And I'm going to take you step by step. So, let's see what else I need to do. Well, I have a new background. Isn't that pretty? No, I didn't crochet the doily though. It was one I got at the thrift store, I'm sure. But it was so pretty. Of course, we have our new book. And I have a new bouquet. And I have all my friends. And there's nothing else to do. But let's sit, let's talk, let's share a laugh or two, and enjoy each other. Welcome to 2016. Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. Just for you. Okay, so before we can get into, setting up our formula, let's talk yarn for this sweater. I want to make a sweater, and I have a big stash, and I want to look in my stash. Okay, I don't know if you remember way back, I think it was this spring, or was it a year ago? I don't know, but I was at Michael's one day, and they had Loops and Threads had got this new yarn in called Urban. And they had it in several different colors, and it was pretty. I didn't get anything. I really wasn't sure if I liked it. It felt a little, I don't know, it feels cottony or something. I don't know, anyway, it didn't hit me at the time. But later on, a few months later, I guess as maybe the sales didn't go as planned, or people didn't respond to it like they thought they would, you could tell that their supply was dwindling, and they didn't plan to restock it. So I was in there one day, and I got the last 6 skeins of Loops and Threads Urban, and I have it in 2 colors. They had it, like I said, all the other colors were gone. These were the last bit in the bins, and there were 6 skeins of this, and this is just called black. There's 202 yards. And then I got 6 skeins of, this one is called Sky Blue. So this is the one, of course, that I made the black sweater out of. And I thought doing one in the Sky Blue would show up better on camera as we're, working the sweater. But I thought, oh my gosh, I finally get to use this yarn. And what a surprise I had. My first impression was wrong. It really knits fine, and it feels great. It looks pretty, and as you can see from the black one that I was wearing, it really is pretty. So now I don't know if you can get it online, or if they're done, if they say they're done, they're done. I don't know why it didn't take off in the stores. I remember red, I remember gold, I remember these 2 colors, and there was a deeper blue. I thought I had gotten it, but I got so much yarn in here, people, I don't know if I got it or not. I might have it. But all right. So we're talking yarns here for our sweater. This is what I'm going to use because I had 6 skeins of this. It won't take that many. I just happen to have that because I caught the sale. It was under $2 a skein. I couldn't leave it, people. I just couldn't. So if you don't have these, and maybe you didn't catch that sale, and like I said, it's not in the store anymore at Michael's. All right, let's talk a couple of other colors or yarns. Well, first of all, some of you are going to be like, oh, yay, Jay. She's finally going to try Red Heart with Love. Oh, so I think I got this at Joann's. They had this on sale, Red Heart with Love, and I kept thinking of Rochelle, and I thought, oh, I think this is what she used, I think. I can't remember, you know, so many yarns. When you get in the store, you get all confused anyway. But I went ahead and got, I just picked up 3 skeins. Probably won't need all 3, I don't know. But anyway, I have 3. And let's see how many yards in here. 370 yards. Oh my gosh. Hey, I think I might have to give this another look. Rochelle, you might be on to something. Okay, so it is a number 4, the kind of medium weight that I like to work with, you know. And, but to my surprise, guess what? They call for US 9. I thought this yarn was always size 8. See? It pays to read sometimes. It's a US 9. I was so excited. This color is Boysenberry, and it is Red Heart with Love. So that's a yarn. See? You can get that. All right. Remember, we're looking at our stash. Okay. Of course, Loops and Threads Impeccable. I have this in every color. You know, I caught that sale that time when it was $1 and something a skein, and I just bought, remember I was bagging it up, I bought 4 of every color. Oh, okay, so now we got to start using this yarn. All right, so of course it's a medium weight, number 4, and they call for an 8. But you know, since I have, you know, my 3 different, you know, my 3 needle sizes, it's easy to just transfer from one needle to the other. So this will work just fine. I will still be using a number 9 on this Impeccable. There's 268 yards in here, so that's a nice yarn to use. I'm just giving you other selections that you may already have, that you don't have to run out and buy anything. And of course, last but not least, my favorite is Vanna. Vanna yarn. This is silver blue, and of course I have this in all colors too. And of course I know this is a number 9. This is medium weight, and of course it's number 9, US number 9 needle. So this is my favorite for sweaters, to, you know, my first choice. But I'm giving you some selections because since these are not in the store, I thought about it. And so I had to redo the tape real quick and say, okay, not only just because I use this, here are some choices that you probably have in your stash. And all you need is probably at least, if we're going to put the sleeves in there, at least 3 skeins. It doesn't really take a whole lot, I don't think. You know, you could have 4, you know, that's fine, but maybe 3 skeins. All right. So these are some choices that you can have, and hopefully you have something like that in your stash. And like I say, I'm going to use this and use my number 9. All right, now the next thing we have to do, if you've been with me, you know I have to have a formula. Since we don't have a written pattern, our little notes and working through our formula, I write it down so that I will have it, and then I put it in one of my little sheet protectors so I can work and always remember what I did. Okay, real quick, for this sweater, I'm using a US number 9. I don't know what that is in other, you know, size hooks, just number 9. And for me, my number for my number 9 is 96 stitches. You will have to go through the process. You know, I'm not going to backtrack. You'll just have to go through and find a good number and round that number off, you know, either up or down. It has to be divisible by 4. It just works better for you. I'm telling you, you'll understand. And now you know that when I do my little formula, I go ahead and I set up whether I want borders or not. Usually, I've been working sweaters, you know, always with 2 or 3 stitches for a border. But this, I want to sew up just very clean, a neat seam. So I'm going to take 1 stitch for my left side, 1 left edge, and 1 stitch for my right edge. And I'm going to subtract 2 stitches from 96. So that leaves me 94 stitches to put my ribbing or whatever else I might want to put in on this sweater. You see that? And I put it in a little block. I always do that just to remind me where the pattern or what, you know, how many stitches I have left. So from 96, I took 2 stitches just to have those 2 little stitches on each edge from 96, and I have 94 stitches to work with. Okay, now I decided that I want a 1x1 ribbing at the bottom. You know, I'm trying to keep it simple. This is going to be a real basic something, and after you get this and get your sizing and all of that, then we'll go crazy with the patterns. We'll add patterns, not on this one, but, you know, on the next one or whatever. Okay, so I'm using a 1x1 ribbing. Okay, now, I'm a large to extra large, 1X. If you're a large size, even though the pattern you might be using, or maybe you like the 2x2, to me, a ribbing stitch pulls in. That's the purpose of it. It pulls in. Okay. Well, I find that when you're a larger size and you have the 2x2 and it pulls in, it throws, even though the numbers might be correct and your sweater might be the right size, it pulls it all out of proportion. That's why you're always at the bottom pulling your sweater over in the front, trying to make it meet. Because if you have that 2x2 ribbing, it's pulling against you, and it just makes your whole sweater either look like you gain weight, or the sweater's too small, or it's just out of proportion. That's just me. That's the way I see it. You may not see it that way. You may not see anything. So, for my size, I just deal with it, people. Look, I just deal with it. Oh, gosh. All right, I'm not making no resolution. I'm not doing any of that. Whatever I do, I'm going to do it quietly within within myself. I'm not going to get out here on the YouTube and tell y'all I'm going to do this and do that. No. Because it never works. So, I'm just going to deal with it, people. So, instead of a 2x2 ribbing, I use the 1x1 because it's a little relaxed and it doesn't pull my sweater and make it, my sweater looks like it fits. And so that's what I do. But in order to get that ribbing, remember I have 96 stitches total right now. Well, the ribbing, I need one more stitch because I like to, if I start with a knit one, I like to end with a knit one. If I start with a purl one, I need to end with a purl one. So I need an odd number. So I need to add one more stitch to this 96. That was a total. I need to add one more. So really, I'm going to cast on 97 stitches. That will take care of my 1x1 ribbing. So the formula will be, just like I said, I will have a 1 border stitch on the left side. Now, however you like to do your 1x1 ribbing, just do it. Like I said, I'm not here to change anything you're doing. I'm just showing you how I make my projects. Since I have pictures and I put up so you know that I'm doing it and not just telling you about things I knit. I'm showing you things that I'm doing, and I'm showing you step by step. I'm a person of habit. Once I find something that works, I just do it over and over. I just change it up. And it doesn't look the same, but it's basically the same. I use the same mindset. Okay. So, I don't know how I got off on that, people. Okay. Oh, I know. So, the 1x1 ribbing, normally you would start, in just about every place I see it, always, okay, start with knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. But I do mine opposite. And it makes the nicest ribbing. It is never shabby, or the stitches don't look all, some of them are long, short. I never get that. All right, so I'm going to stitch on my left that I will knit on every row. My two edge stitches, some people like to slip them. Fine, you can slip your stitches. That has nothing to do with doing this sweater, whatever you like. I knit the first and last stitch on every row. Okay. Then I'm going to start with a purl 1, knit 1. Purl 1, knit 1. I'm just going across the row. Purl 1, knit row until I get to the end, and I should, because I've added that one stitch, end with a purl 1, just like I started. Then that one last stitch that I will knit for my little savage or my little border, so that I have something to seam up when I'm all done. That's going to be a nice little a nice simple seam. And I will do my ribbing for 9 rows. So when I'm on row 10, I should be on the right side ready to start the stockinette. And I do that all the time, because we're not working from a pattern, we're working from our own little formula as we design. And so if I keep certain things the same, you know, you change it as the pattern. Like if I needed more stitches to put a pattern in there, then I'd have to add more stitches. But you'd have to remember, you know, how many stitches you need for the ribbing. So with this said and done, now I have the number cast on, 97. I'm going to do my ribbing, and I'm doing one by one, and I'm starting with the purl one. And I will do it for at least, so I'll stop on row 10 on the right side, and I'll be ready for my stockinette. So now let me show you how it looks so far, so I can give you the next step. So now here's my pretty sky blue, just like I said, and my pretty ribbing on the bottom. Look how nice and neat my edges are, just nice and neat. So now after you do this, like I say, then you just start stockinette. Once you finish your ribbing, stockinette, remember, for new knitters, it's just knit on the right side, purl on the wrong side. Knit on the right side, purl on the wrong side, but don't forget the 2 edge stitches, whether you slip them or knit them. So I knit every row, and I have that little row of bumps. Okay, then you'll have to decide, well, how far up do I want to go till I reach my arm space? Okay, well, that you'll have to just measure and hold it up to you. You know, everybody's going to be different. And I normally go up about 10 or 11 inches. This one I'm taking up, I'll go up to 11 inches. I've kind of fell short with this. I need to go up a little bit, 1 more inch. But 10 or 11 inches to my underarm. So that's where we need to go. And once you reach that, then I'm going to show you something I use to help me measure my, keep track of my stitches for my underarm space. And you'll have to decide too, how wide is your underarm, your arm space. I normally use anywhere from 8 to 9 inches for my, you know, to put my arm through. So you'll have to figure that out too. But right now we are just knitting. We are knitting up to our underarm. Whatever that number is, be sure to write it down. See you back. I've got 1 more inch to go. Okay, so I'm going to try to kind of really concentrate on the things that we really need to, and not so much on things that you know to do. Okay, just really quick recap. I put on my ribbing and I knit in stockinette. For me, to where I want my arm space to start, I knit 11 inches from the beginning of my ribbing to where I want my arm space to start. I knit 11 inches. You will have to measure yours up and see how far you'd like to go up with yours. Okay, and from that point, just before I got to the 11 inches or so, it was a little under 11, I was on the wrong side. And on the wrong side, I switched from that one. Remember, I have a salvage stitch where I knit on every row. That's me. Some people like to slip. But now we need to make sure that you will change to knitting not only 1 stitch, but 4 stitches in total, so that you will get these pretty, really little garter ridges. You know, when you knit on every row, garter stitch. So this would designate where my sleeve space is on my sweater without me having to worry about trying to match it up, or if my measurement get off or a row if I'm off a row or something just goes wrong. So right along here, you see that I started on a wrong side row right before just as I was finishing my 11 inches. I started knitting 4 stitches on this side, and you put a marker. Then you purl across, and then on the opposite side, on the left side, you knit the last 4 stitches. And of course, put a mark on that end. Now, just like I said, I'm trying to get things in here that we really need and not just stuff you just normally know what to do. So, for me, for my 8 inches, it took, I'm going to count them just to show you, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. It took 22 garter ridge rows. You see them right there. I counted those ridges for me to reach my 8 inches. 8 inches is what I'm going to use on this sweater because, and I'll just show it again. I don't know if you can see my arm on camera. Normally on a regular sweater where you come up to your shoulder and you have a sleeve cap, you normally, a lot of patterns, it's about 9 inches of space that you leave. Okay, but this sweater has a shoulder, the fabric comes over the shoulder cap. Only because for me it's easier. I try not to have to deal with the shoulder cap. Alright, and then I don't have to worry about short rows or knitting the sleeve separate. I can just pick up stitches. But this sleeve is going to come, you can see where my shirt is, it's going to come down like this, and then I will pick up stitches along here. So you don't need, the whole thing that I'm trying to tell you is, you don't need as many inches for your sleeve opening, for your arm space opening. So where I would normally have 9, I'm dropping back 1 inch, and I suggest you do the same thing. So if you normally, have 8, you drop back to 7. And you'll see that you'll have a nice sleeve to fit in. Alright, so to get back to my ridges, I needed 22 of these ridges to make my 8 inches. And then I went ahead and did 1 extra ridge, which will represent the top of the shoulder. You see that? And of course I have a mark here. So now I'm going to mark, as I get ready to knit this, I'm going to mark this row as number 23. And it will represent the top of my shoulder. So as I go over, all I have to do is do 22 on the front side, 22 ridges, to match this, and I don't have to worry about being off in my measurements or whatever, because the garter ridges will line up as we go over the shoulder. But the next thing we need to do, first of all, count your stitches. Make sure you have the original stitches that nothing happened. Things happen in knitting. I had 96, and I remember I had that 1 extra stitch to make my ribbing come out to be even on each end. Okay, just forget about that 1 stitch. It will be taken up in the neck. Anything that doesn't fit goes in the neck. But the most important thing we want to do is to get our right front, as we get ready to go over, and our left front to match, to have the same amount of stitches. And how do you do that? Okay. All right, I'm going to just take my little calculator, and I'm just going to use myself as an example. My original stitch count was 96. And in my calculations, and in the way I do my sweaters, I always allow anywhere from 16 to 32 stitches for a neck space, according to however many I need. Because we don't have a pattern, just like I have those 4 stitches allowed, for each needle size. Okay, well, for a neck space, I have 16 all the way up to at least 32 stitches that I can use for my neck space. That allows me to try to get my right and my left equal. So how do we do that? Okay, so you've counted your stitches, and you just start subtracting from this 96. Okay, I can look at this and I'm going like, okay, well, how about if I subtract, let's see, how about if I subtract 30 stitches? You don't want to just divide it in half. You could do that, but that's a little harder for me. I just simply start subtracting. I'm going to just start subtracting 30 stitches. Let me just clear that. 96 minus 30 equals 66 stitches. Okay? Out of the 66, I'm going to subtract another 30 for the opposite side. Minus 30 equals 36. Well, 36 is a little much, so let's see, can we recalculate? So this is what I will do. How about I go up to 34? So you can go 96 minus 34 equals 62. Okay? Minus, you just always subtracting. 34 equals, what, 28? Oh, well, wait a minute now, look. 28 falls within my range for my neck. Remember, I have 16 to 32 stitches. Oh, 28 would fall. And then remember, I have the plus 1. I had that one stitch that just floats. So that would work for me. That means that I would have 34 stitches on my right and 34 stitches on my left, and plus 1, I would have 29 stitches for my neck. And that's a great deal for me. It gives me plenty of room across my shoulders on each side, and because we are going to pick up stitches for the neck on this sweater. We will pick up stitches along the front band, around the neck, and back down. So 29 stitches is perfect for me. I don't know what your numbers are, but the best thing to do is start with your original number, like mine was 96, and just start subtracting. You have 16 to 32 stitches to find a number that will work for your neck. It sounds hard, but it's not. In fact, it's kind of fun to kind of play around with your numbers to see how you can get it in there. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So, I've decided 34 stitches, which works out great because I already have these 4 stitches. So what I need to do, because now I can bind off my neck, I'm going to quickly just knit over. Slide that marker. Now watch. Let me lock it in. Okay, now remember this row was number 23. That was the top of my shoulder. I'm going to mark this with one of these little. So I had 22. That's the top of the shoulder where my neck, I will bind off my neck on this row. And then I will have, as I go over, I will have to match 22 on the other side. See, not really complicated, not when you actually start working this way. But now do you see why it's great to have numbers that's divisible by 4, and you try to use simple math to work. Oops, I need to go back. You know, it's just mainly, oops, yarn. I'm knitting, so yarning back. This is the top of, right at my neckline, top of my shoulder. And I have allowed myself, by my calculations, is 28 stitches for my neck to bind off, plus that extra 1 to get rid of that 1 stitch. So let me just get across, and while you take some measurements, you count your stitches, and let's see what number you come up with. See you back in just a minute as we get ready to bind off our neck. And you go ahead and you will need some, I would go ahead and get some just regular straight needles instead of a stitch holder. We're going to put this, I'm going to show you how to put this, your stitches on so you'll be in the right direction, and then we'll start working on one side of the sweater, going down, going over the shoulder and down the front. So go ahead and make sure that you have some extra needles. All right, see you back in just a minute. Okay, I've counted and recounted, and I'm up. I have my 34 stitches for my right front right here, and everything is marked. All right, now the next thing I want to do is bind off. For me, it's 29 stitches for my neck. All right, so let's go. So I simply start just knitting that first stitch, and then the second one, reach back and bind off. And do it loosely, and continue to just bind off across. Oops. So you can see that our two fronts will be equal, and continue to bind off. Knit one, pass the one behind it over and off, just reach and slip it off. Continue across. Oh, I had a bad place on my yarn there. Okay, so as I get closer, ooh, there's a real bad place on my yarn. I'll have to hide that in my, when I pick up my stitches. But so far, like I said, this yarn turned out to be a nice surprise. It was really nice to, oops, I didn't bind off. Let's see. Okay, reach back and bind off. Continue across. Oops. Well, my poor stitches don't want to stay on my needle tonight. Okay. Alright, I'm trying to stay loose. Boy, this yarn had a couple of little bad places. Alright, now what I do to make sure, like I said, all we're interested in is in keeping the two fronts equal. So as I get close to the left side, I will stop, and I'm going to take a count. Well, that's the second stitch I've missed. I don't know what is going on. I think I put too much lotion on my hand. Okay, I'm going to just, since this is just jumping off the needle, I'm going to cap this for a minute. Now, I'm going to start on this side, this edge, because that's all I'm concerned with, is keeping this equal. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34. So I got quite a few more to go. All right. And then I'll take another count. And I will continue to bind off my neck. Oh, the challenge is to that I am not putting a design in this one. This is our first cardigan style that we're knitting together, where we're going to actually, I'm trying to get in the sleeves. On my snowdrop lace sweater, I wasn't able to get the sleeves in without having to do a whole nother tape. So I'm trying to get the sleeves in on this one. So let me recount. 2, 4, let's see, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34. I need to get rid of a couple more stitches here. Okay. will bind off, and I have to bind off this last stitch. So I go ahead and go there and bind that stitch off. Double check before you, so you don't have to take anything loose. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 32, and with this one on this needle, it makes 34. Here I have finished binding off my neck, and now I'm going to my left side, and I will knit this side off. And I always feel such relief when I get to the shoulders. Like I said, this one was just a lot of knitting. We didn't even put a design in this one. This one is more about the sleeves and picking up the stitches in the front and finding your numbers. And once you have some numbers and you, like I say, you know, understand how to separate, how to figure out your neck, this little, the way I do simple sleeves, I have you know, several little simple ways I do sleeves so that I do not have to, like I say, I do not want to have to knit 2 separate sleeves, 2 separate fronts, and a back. And then pick up your stitches in the front. You know, it's just, that's just not what I'm interested in. So, you know, if that's what you're used to, you just have to get a pattern. So, I'm all the way across, and remember, this is the 23rd ridge right here, 22 to reach my 8 inches on this side, and I did 1 extra ridge so that I can mark it on this side as well, just so that I will know this is the top of my shoulder. And there is my neck space. Don't worry if it seems large or too small. We're going to be picking up stitches. The main thing was get your right and left side the same number of stitches. Now, real quick, I'm going to take one of my straight needles. I'm working on a size 9, so this needs to be a size 9. Okay? Instead of our normal stitch holders, I'm going to go ahead and just start on right here on this end and slide. Just transfer each stitch and marker over to this little bamboo needle so that I can have them off my circular needle. So you see, I'm just transferring them. I'm going to do this before I do anything else. Just go ahead and take care of this, and you will need one of those little caps. I just can't do anything without my little caps because, oh, my stitches slide right off. There we go. Here is my right side. I'm going to cap it. Now watch. If there's any confusion, you know, people, you know, there's always new people, and sometimes I don't care. It's just hard sometimes not to get things confused. Which way am I going? This, once I put it on this needle, it's headed in the right direction. There's no way for you to mistake that you have to start on the wrong side working when you come back to the right side. You see how the needle is pointing. All right, so that one's taken care of. Now, on this side, so that I won't have my circular needle flopping around, I'm going to grab another set of number 9s. I have a lot of needles, people. And I'm going to knit the first 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's with the yarn in back. Now I bring the yarn to the front because you can tell that this is the wrong side. Slide the marker and purl And I want to show you what we need to do when we get to that neck edge. We're going to create a salvage stitch so that when we finish the front and we go to pick up the neck, it will already be there. Will make picking up stitches a lot easier. So I'm just working back now. To me, things just make a lot more sense when I can see it. You know, and like I said, I don't know how. I'm hoping I'm making this clear. It's so easy when you're just doing something that you normally do. You know, you're doing a recipe, like I said before, and it's so easy. But when you go to try to explain it and tell someone, oh, you take a pinch of that, no, a pinch of that, no. Well, that's so I hope this is clear. Okay, as you can see, I'm coming up to my last few stitches. And all I want to do is make this last stitch, that little stitch that I can pick up, you know, sew when I get, or to pick up my stitches. So I'm going to yarn in back on the purl side and knit that last stitch. Now I'm done with my circulars. Yay! I got stuff all over this place. I don't know what happened to my neatness tonight. Yay, so now I have this. I'm going in the right direction. I know where the top of my shoulder, I don't have to recount anymore. I know that I need to now work stockinette with knit 1 on every row on this side, but I will have to knit 4 stitches until I have 22 to match this side. Then I go back to my knit 1 along the edge, or if you were slipping that 1 stitch, till I get all the way down. So, what do you think of that? Okay, this is an overall view to see my progress. And as you can see, here is, you can really see the neck now really come to life. Here's my left side. And remember, my mark told me where the top of my shoulder, I had 22 ridges. This one is the top of the shoulder. Now all I had to do was knit 22 on this side. So I have my 22 ridges. 22 is right here on my needle. So I just wanted to kind of make sure we were on the same page. So I'm knitting over. Alright, past my marker, I knit this row, and now I have 22 ridges on the front side, which represents now 8 inches on the front for my arm space. So you see this will eventually come up, and we will be able to make these ridges meet. Does that make sense? Okay, just the easy way so you don't have to worry about trying to count every row and all of that. That's just the easy way that I do it. Alright, now this is, of course, now I've done my 22 or whatever number you have to do for yours. I turn the work. See, I am on the wrong side. I knit that first stitch, yarn, then yarn in front. Now I'm purling to the other end. And of course that's the neck edge. And I hope you remember to knit or slip that stitch at the very end. So here I come up to the end. And I'm almost there. Okay, I'm coming up to the last One more. Now, last stitch, I'm at the neck edge, yarn in back, knit that last stitch. And I'm going to turn it back to the right side. Alright, so now I'm back where I started at the beginning. I have, you see there? Now I have a match for my arm space. And now all I have to do is continue to knit down to the length I need before I start the ribbing. And either you did it by inches or by rows. So, you know, however many rows or however many inches you did your ribbing. Once you get to that area, then that's what you will do. Now, real quick, I'm going to put a cap on this one. All right, now watch. Just to make sure, and that, you know, especially for those that are still new. All right, I'm going to go up and start this one, this side, and go ahead and get this, get the sleeve, the arm space done also, and then I don't have to go back and worry about it. All right, so I have my yarn, and remember we put our needle in, so now I know I'm going in the correct direction, because here's my point right here, and this is the neck edge, so I want to stick my needle in as to knit, grab my yarn, loop it over, I hold it tight, and then I use the tail end working yarn, and I knit that first stitch. Now, excuse me, knit that first stitch. Now yarn in front, and now I'm going to purl, and I will do it with both strands, the working yarn and the tail, for, you know, a couple, 2 or 3 stitches. Then I can drop the tail, and it'll be nice, stitched in. So now we'll continue across. And this is my right side, and I think it's just smart to go ahead and work your arm spaces, since, like I said, you're using the little garter ridges to count. And it'd be nice to have those all out of the way. So I'm just purling over to my edge here. Okay, and I'm coming up oops. Okay, I see the last 4 stitches. I'm going to knit this stitch, purl this stitch, yarn in back, slide the marker, the last 4. I will knit those last 4. And I will do the exact same thing I just finished on the right side. Now I have to do it on the left side. And I needed 20, for me, I needed 22 ridges. And there's the top of my shoulder. It's marked on that side also. And on the next side, be sure to knit on every row that 1 stitch, just to make it easier when we get ready to pick up along the front edge. I just wanted to let you see that I'm working right along, and let you see my progress just like you. Because I thought it would be good to go ahead and do it in this light color, and you know, you can't see it on the black, but you can definitely see what I'm doing here on the blue. Well, guess what? More knitting. I just rented me a movie, so. Alright, you see how that side looks. Alright, see you back. Okay. Just checking in with you. Seeing how you're doing. And let you know the progress I've made. Okay. I finished my arm, my front. and I have sewn my fronts to my back. And as you can see, I have my arm space. Now, when you sew your seam up, however you do it, you know, everybody does, you know, have their own way. All right, then you're going to leave, of course, your arm space open. But do not tie off or leave long tails, but definitely do not tie off anything. From where you started, right down here, see this long tail? And then here's where I've stopped at the arm space. Because we will do the sleeves, if you want sleeves, at the end. But you want to have room to either change your arm space a little bit if you need to go up, or if you need to pull a few strands back. That's fine. So never tie off your arm space. This way you get to try your sweater on and just see how your arm space, you know, if you need more, then you just pull it back. Or if you need to take it up a little more, it's up, you know, once you try it on, you'll see. Leave all your markers in place. So now I have joined the front to my back piece. And you're going to go, Jay, but my neck is so large. How's this going to work? Well, we're going to pick up stitches. We're going to pick up stitches to pull all of this together. See, we're just going to, so we need this nice space in order to make a nice turn back or roll back of a, like a collar. See? Isn't that pretty? Okay, so the next step is you will need a long needle if you have one, 36 or 40, so that you can pick up the stitches around the front of your sweater. So I've already got started. I want to just kind of start walking you through so that we can get this part done. And I'm using, like I say, a long circuit. I think this is a 36. And of course, it's the same size. I used 9 on my entire sweater. And then, of course, this is a 9 also. Okay. So now, like I said, now I'm just simply going to start around the front edge, go around the neck and down, picking up stitches first. Then, once we do that, we can decide on what type of front band you'd like to have. We can do a 1x1 ribbing to match, or you can do a plain plain garter stitch where you just knit every row for 5 or 6, 4 or 5 inches. That makes a nice just lay back on your on your sweater. Or you can do stockinette, which is on the black sweater I did ribbing and stockinette. So I have maybe about 2 or 3 inches of 1x1 ribbing, and then at the end I added stockinette to give the roll effect that rolls back. So we can decide all of that, but first picking up stitches. Now, like I say, you're going to need a long circular needle. And I pretty much pick up stitches just like I think most people do. I don't know. Just, what they showed me at the yarn store. I used to just pick them up, and then they showed me a better way. So I just started doing what they do. So it's more of you pick up 3, and then like you skip 1 stitch, what would be 1 stitch, and then pick up 3, and then skip the next stitch. So I'm right here ready to go. I've already done 3. I can see it on my needle, so I'm just going to knit or pick up. So I need to skip this one. I can see the separation of the 3 stitches that I've already done. So I see 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to skip that one. Pick 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now I can skip what I would call the next stitch right there, and just 1, 2, and 3. And there would be a stitch that could go there, but I'm going to skip that one. And you'll see how it lines up. 1, 2, and 3. Does that make sense? Now, we've got a long way to go. I'm going to skip that one and go 1, 2, and 3. So, let's see, right there's 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. Then I'd skip the next one there, and I'd pick up 1, 2, and 3. Skip that little place where I know you could put 1, but we're going to skip that and go 1, 2, and 3. And there you have it. So this is the next step you need to take. You need to start a long circular needle. I've got, this is at least a 36, I believe. And we're going to pick stitches up all the way around to the other end. Once we get there, then we can decide which of the front bands you'd like to put on. Well, more knitting. How are you coming? This is helping me just to kind of take it and show it as I do it. And we'll see how this works. If this will help you to follow along or to, you know, to work as I'm working. Well, see you back after we pick up some more stitches. Take care. Okay, as I started, as I continue to pick up stitches, I got up towards my neck, and I wanted to make sure that when you got to the corner that we did not leave any gaps once you come up, and then there's this little empty space in here, and then of course the bind off stitches where we bound off for our neck. So, and if I'm right-handed, so you could either pick up your stitches with your yarn in your left hand, where you just go under, or you can actually do the knitting motion. So sometimes I just do both, but anyway, I'm doing the knitting motion where I just stay in pattern. There's a 3, there's 1, just knit it on, go up under 2 strands, knit the next one on, skip 1, knit the next. Now I'm coming up to that gap type area, and I just wanted to make sure that you took your time and filled in that gap to pick up stitches to fill in the gap. So you might have to, you may even be out of pattern for just a little bit, just to make sure you pick up enough stitches, but try to go up under 2 strands. You see I'm just filling in that gap, going up under 2 strands. So then I think I'll do 1 here. Now I'm up. See, now there it is. So see, look, it's filled in and you don't see a gap there, even though we're turning, once we, you know, it's really turning a corner, coming up the front and then going to the neck. Okay, now, once we're on the next section, right here, let's see if I need one right there. I might need one right here too. No gaps. Now we definitely are working under 2 strands because the bind off edge gives us 2 strands of yarn. And like I said, I'm just doing the knitting motion. I'm putting my point of my needle in, yarn over, pull through. You can, some people find this way a lot faster than if you have the yarn in the opposite hand, like sometimes I do. It just depends, and then go to this direction. Okay, so we're going to continue on. I'm going up under 2 strands on the neck until I get all the way to the other corner, and then I want to make sure I do the same, that I pick up stitches the same way so that there's no gap when I hold, you see there, when I hold it up, there's no gap there. We're going to pick them up all the way. Okay, so continue on. I just thought of that little note. A lot of times, you know, just when you're, since I'm doing this in real time, you know how you just think of something, go, oh, you know, I should have said this or I should have said that. So I'm just pulling it, just kind of knitting it on. Now the neck is, like I said, if you bound off tight, you may have a little struggle like I'm having with my neck if you don't keep a loose bind off. All right, see you at the other end. We're binding off our neck, our two fronts and our neck space. Oh, we're getting close. But isn't it nice that you see I'm in the same, look, I'm just knitting away like you. Okay, see you back in just a little bit. Okay, let me share with you where I am. I finished picking up all the stitches all the way around. It's kind of a crumpled up mess, but you see how it goes all the way around up one side, around the neck, and then down this side. Okay, I picked up all the stitches, and then on the back, on the wrong side, you can tell it's the wrong side, I decided to go ahead and repeat the 1 by 1 ribbing that matches the bottom edge. So, to do that, I am going to, just like I did on this, I'm going to knit the first stitch at the beginning and the end of every time I go around. The first and last stitch I'm going to knit. And then I go right back, go into pattern. And since we know that this is the wrong side, I will start with a purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and continue around. So now I'm here on this edge. I've already gone around, and of course, since I started with a purl, it was on the back side, we have to end with a purl also. So I ended with knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and then the one edge stitch which I knit, just like I've been doing all along. So now I've turned the work. Now we're on the right side, so now all we have to do is just read the pattern. Like I say, but the first stitch and the last one, I'm just going to knit, and then I start reading the pattern. So that is now, on the front side, is now a knit, and then I purl, and yarn in back, I knit a stitch, then I purl, and knit, and purl. Oh, now we're on a little roll here. Knit and purl, and knit, and purl, and knit, and continue. So now I will continue in pattern, putting on my front band. But what's so nice, once you get around to the other side, you can start trying your sweater on, because we have done the side, we've already sewn up the sides, but we did not, you know, bind them off. We didn't, you know, seal it off, because, you know, you just like to be able to just try it on before we get ready to do our sleeves. You want to make sure and you know what? I found, and maybe you have too by now, just like your feet are different size, your hands are different size. Well, how much room, when you go to sew up, sometimes one arm, you don't need it. One arm space is larger than the other. I think that's what I want to say. So I noticed that some I have to undo just a couple of stitches to, so it's not so tight, or, you know, that I have room to move my arm around, you know, because I'm going to add sleeves. So that's one good thing about this one. You can try it on as we put our band on to see. Now, this one I did not design to close and button, because I wanted the pretty roll neck. On the black one, after I did this 1 by 1 ribbing, I think about 3 inches maybe, or I can measure about 3 inches or so. Then I went into my stockinette and you know stockinette, knit on the front, purl on the back, you know it creates, you know it rolls on itself. So I added another maybe 2 or 3 inches in stockinette to create the pretty roll that gives me the pretty neckline. But you can decide, because now you can try it on and see how it looks on you. But this one was not designed to just button up. This was designed to be open, so you know if you have something real pretty underneath or some pretty jewelry, you can see it. But okay, so back to look, but we're getting a lot of television watching, Danny. Oh, and guess what? Guess what time it is? It's tennis time. And they have already started the preliminary matches. It will be, they're in Australia. Although I won't do one of my tennis sweaters because I have so many other things planned. But I will share something with you that will tie in with the tennis matches in Australia. So I can keep watching tennis now while I'm knitting this sweater, and see you back. Now we're going to the one we're working on. See, it makes a big difference in just the color. See, can I lay it out here for the camera so I don't have to change? Okay, so far, now you see how the neck, how all that empty space now is filled in. And we needed a lot of empty space. That's why we didn't do any increases like on some of the other vests. You know how if you take it out of the neck, then you need to increase it back so that your fronts will at least look nice. Okay, so here I am. And I have about a little over 2 inches, just a tad over 2 inches. And I think I'll stop there. I think that'll be good. And I am on a right side row, of course. And so now, all I want to do is knit in the front, purl on the back. Except keep these 2 edge stitches in knit on on the purl side also. You will still continue to keep those 2 stitches. Since we started that way, it's just easy and it's in your mind to do it. So now I've gone as far as I want on my 1x1 ribbing. You see that? It's so pretty. Okay, now I can just sit back and knit. And you want to do it at least a little, you know, if I did 2.5 here, I might go 3. So really, I have 2 more skeins, enough to do my sleeves. So I think this sweater took about 6 skeins at only 200, right at 202 yards. But now if this had been maybe one of those skeins where you had 300 and something, or, you know, like I love this yarn or something with more yardage, you probably could have done it in 5 or even 4. But this I think I'm going to have to use all 6. I may have half a skein left over, but I've had to go through and use all 6. So, well, I just wanted to let you see the progress I'm making on my sweater here, my nice little winter cardigan. And so now, since I have done enough of 1x1 ribbing to bring the front in some, now I'm creating a roll. I'm going to do a stockinette for another 2.5 or 3 inches so that I have this really luscious, thick roll of yarn around my neck. And it's going to look pretty. So, let you see that I'm working. Keep going. And by the time we meet again, we should be about ready to bind off our stockinette section. What do you think? How's yours looking? Do you feel pleased with yourself that you made it this far? Are you excited to all my newbies, you know, that you're gonna like, oh my gosh. Well, we still have the sleeves to go. like saying, I'm trying out this new format a little bit where I'm trying to do as, you know, do film as I do each section. Yes, it is a lot of knitting, but that's why you're here. Otherwise, you could just simply, like I say, go find a pattern and figure that out. This way, we just made it simple, step by step, and you're going to look beautiful. When you put it on, you're just going to absolutely love it. All right, see you back. I won't say in a jiffy. Okay, see you back in a little bit. Keep going. Okay, last overview before we go to add our sleeves. And as you can see, I have my nice roll stockinette collar and front band. So it's a high back neck. It's high in the back. And then it just finishes off our 1x1 ribbing. It's just a nice little detail, but a simple one, you know. It looks like a lot more work, you know, or more advanced detail than it really is, because we, like I said, we just finished it. It's just the 1x1 ribbing, and then you want it, and then we did the nice just plain stockinette and let it just kind of roll back. So, but I wanted to say this. Okay, we're getting ready to go to put our sleeves in. I am determined to get the sleeves in on this video, and I hope I don't have to do it in 2 parts. I'm trying to get it in all in one video. Hey, you may have to have lunch and dinner to view it, but I'm trying my best. It just makes it so much easier if we don't have to separate it. But what I wanted to say is, for someone who may be says, okay, Jay, I'm tired. I just, you know, when you're new and you just want instant gratification, you're like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do the sleeves. If you're new and you say, okay, I may not do the sleeves on this, you are already done. All you have to do now is to go ahead and secure your arm space. You know, we left it open. You're not to close it off until you're completely done, because once you get to this stage, you can now try the vest on. And just like your feet or your hands or anything else, one is always off from the other. I have one arm space that sometimes I have to go up just a tiny bit more than the other one. I can't remember which one. But I'm sure everybody's bodies, you know, you've got something that you need to adjust to. So at this point, once you've got this part done, now you can try your vest, your sweater on. And if you'd rather stop here and just call it a vest, the arm space is already done. There's nothing else to do. It's done. You have to secure your, you know, we left this open. I didn't tie it off because, you know, you never know. Like I say, you have to adjust. But you can simply now tie it off and weave in the ends, and your sleeve area, your arm space is done. And you have a nice vest, and I'm going to give you a good picture of it so you can decide. But for those that want to go on, now we're going to get ready to go into the last part of the video. And what we're going to do, you're going to have to, you know, like I said, secure your arm space. For me, it is 68 stitches. Remember I said once I get my numbers, I use my numbers over and over. So this sleeve is no different. I'm going to pick it. Let's see, what's half 68? 34. Okay. So I will try to, I moved my little pin up here, but you know, there was a pin up here to tell you where the top or the center. I did 22 up, and then there was one in the center, and then 22 down. So I'm going to try to get space out 34 stitches up to the top, or at least 35, that one extra maybe, and then come down the 34 on this side. Does that make sense? And once we pick up these stitches, the first row we will purl, because I found after putting this nice garter ridge and then tried to go into knitting, the sleeve did not look good without some kind of I don't know, separation here, some kind of like end stitch to end this off. So once I pick up my stitches, and for me it's 68, so 34 up, I may have to put 35 there in the center, you know, one extra, and then 34 down, back to the bottom here. We will we will purl that first row, even though we will be working in the round. And and the most important part, Lord, I almost forgot the most important part. Okay, you will need a size 8. Now, if you've noticed, I've worked everything in my 9, including my ribbing. Most patterns have you to work smaller size, but when you're larger, it throws your sweater out of proportion. Everything I've done I've done with my size 9, from the beginning to up to this point. This is the point that I will change and go to a smaller needle. And this, since I used a 9, I will go down to a size 8. It just makes your sleeve look nicer, and you don't have that football looking arm. You know, it just changes the gauge of the yarn, and it will just look a little nicer. So you will need a row counter. One of these little cheap ones is fine. You will need a size 8/16, US 8, 16 inches in length. And then eventually you will need some 8 double points at the very end to do the ribbing as we go down to the very bottom of the sleeve. So the next step is decide if you're going to stop here and make a vest, or you can pull out a number 8 16-inch circular needle and a row counter so that we can pick up our stitches, purl the first row, and then we will go into regular stockinette, and I will tell you how I do my decrease for my sleeve. It's very simple, nice and neat. Okay, we're almost there. I say that all the time, don't I? Believe me. I'm telling you, if it's worth doing, it's worth, you know, just hang in there and you will enjoy the fruits of your labor. I'm trying to think of something to keep you motivated, people. Okay, so we're off to the last part, the sleeves, and I'm determined to get them in. Okay, decide vest or sweater, vest or the sleeves, vest or the sleeves. It's up to you. Okay, see you in just a bit. Okay, sleeve time. Hopefully we can get this to an end. All right. Remember I said that I switch down to a US number 8 16-inch, which is what I normally do a lot of my sleeves in, circular needle. And I picked up stitches, you know, right along my garnet ridge edge. And for me, my range is 68 to 72. So I just go ahead and pick up my stitches, and if you can, you know, however you pick them up, you know, all we need to do is just pick your stitches up and know about how many, or, you know, or your stitch range. We can always adjust it as we start to knit, but the main thing is just to get the stitches on your needle. So, all right, I picked up my stitches, and then the first row, because I found when I was putting this together, I started right out going into my stockinette for my sleeve, and it just didn't look right. So the first row, I actually did a purl row in the round. And you see it gave this little row of separation, and then it looks much better. So I picked up my stitches, I counted them to see if I was in my range of 64 to 72. And if you need to take some stitches out, you can simply decrease on this first row we're getting ready to knit in the round. You can just say, okay, I got maybe 3 stitches. You know, you try to keep your number divisible by 4. That's the whole idea, remember? So I had one, I think I had a couple of extra ones. So as I did this first round of stockinette that we're about to do, This is after the purl row. Now we're working in stockinette. I simply knit 2 together. You know, somewhere down, you know. And as you can see, look at that nice V of where my stitches. And then this is my decrease row right there. So let me show you how I do it. And I try to keep it simple. Like I said, I'm not an expert and who knows what. But it comes out nice and it's fast and it's easy. Okay, the first thing we'll do, after you do the purl row, then yarn in back, even though we're knitting in the round, then we will knit. Now, I'm short, so I don't have a lot of space to do a lot of decreasing. So I have to decrease like every 4 rows. This, remember, this sweater, the arm starts about here. It's not from the shoulder cap. So already we're down about this far, you know, maybe about 4 inches above your elbow. That's where you picked up your stitches. So I don't have a lot of room between here and where I'm going to put my ribbing for my cuff. So I have to decrease every 4 rows. Now, if your arm's a little longer and a little taller, which most people are, you could decrease every 6 rows. And if you're even larger and taller than that, then every 8 rows. See, it's easy to remember. Every 4 rows, if you have short arms or you're just short, or you just don't care for long, you know, long cuffs anyway. I like mine rather short because I like to wear bracelets. Okay, and I'm a pusher upper. Some people are cuff rollers. See how I push everything up so I can wear my bracelets and things. Okay, so if you're short, every 4 rows, we're going to decrease. If you're a little taller, every 6 rows you can decrease. And if you're long arms and just taller and bigger, you just every 8 rows. So here we go. All right, so I've already got this sleeve up, of course, quite a ways. So I'm getting ready to show you how to decrease. But anyway, you do 4 rows, and at the end of the 4th row, we're going to make a decrease. And this is why you need a row counter. It's too hard to keep it in your head, and if you get interrupted, you'll lose your place. So I am on row 4, so my row counter, look at me putting the counter way up here. You can't even see it. I am on row 4 when I stopped. So I've got to finish up to get to the end of row 4. So I am just going to knit, of course, around. I could have had this part done. I don't know what I was thinking. Because I am just running, trying to get this on video without having to do a second video. Because I got other projects I got going on. And thank you to my friend Peggy Darling. She gave me such a wonderful report. She did the teacher shawl for 2 family members that are retired or, you know, school teachers. And she just said when they opened the box, whew, she said it was wonderful, that they just really love the teacher shawl. Yay, thanks, Peggy. Little shout out to you. Okay. I am at the end of row 4 where I want to make my decrease for my arms. Like I say, I'm going to do it every 4 rows. So, just this simple. I don't do anything special. I don't know a lot of other tricks. I try to make it simple so I can get on through with it. I see the mark, my little marker there that represents, you know, the beginning of the round. Just come up to the last 2 stitches before that marker and just knit 2 together that quick. Now watch. Slide the marker and the next 2 stitches, this will start row 1, and I'm going to go ahead and knit the first 2 stitches after the marker together. I knit the 2 stitches before the marker together, slide the marker, knit the next 2 stitches. Now this starts, I think that's what I wanted to say. Now this starts row 1. So I take my counter, starts row 1, I roll it back to 1. Now, I don't decrease again till I get to the end of row 4. So this is row 1, and I continue on knitting in the round like you would normally knit. And when I get to the end of row 4, after I've done 1, 2, 3, I have to go all the way around on row 4, all the way around till I come to the marker. On row 4, I would knit 2 stitches before the mark together, 2 stitches together before the marker, slide the marker, knit the 2 stitches after, and then start row 1 again. Or if you're doing row 6, you do exactly the same thing. Or if you're doing row 8, if you have long arms and you don't, you have to make your sleeve longer. Does that make sense? Okay, I've got more knitting to do. I'm trying to get this out. Okay, let me just tell you this. Now you can start trying on your sweater. You can actually slip your arm into it. Let me take this bracelet off so it won't catch. Let's see what arm this is. So I need to take my ring off too. Okay, so now you can slip your arm in, and of course you can start seeing how it's going to fit you. Can you see that? See? Look how nice that is. All right. What my number, I've got 68 stitches on here. So half of 68, what is 34? All right. Now 34, as we move down towards the cuff, is going to be too tight for a cuff for me. Only because I do this all the time, So I had to stop about 10 stitches before half. So if you have, however many stitches you have, a number divisible by 4. Okay. I had to stop at 44 before it started to get too small so that I can get my ribbing in. So that tells you can simply count your stitches and you can see about how many more, how many more decreases I need to make till I get down to 44, because eventually you're going to have to go to our double points because the circumference is going to become so small that I won't be able to work it on this 16. But I'm going to keep working to see how far I can get. But my aim, only because I've already done this sweater, for me is to get down to 44 stitches before I transfer my stitches to the double pointed needles, number 8, size 8, and then I will go into my 1x1 rib, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, and that we will start on, of course, we're on the right side, so you do start knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, all the way around. So what you've got to do now is start knitting. Decide on which decrease you need, 4, 6, or 8, which row you need to do it. Keep it on your row counter, and I will see you back as I get ready to transfer my stitches to my double points and to do my cuff. Oh, oh gosh. Let's go. Okay, I just finished my last decrease, and I have taken account. I've taken account of all my stitches, and I am down to 44. There's just no way to tell you what your number will be. You will be just trying your sweater on. I can tell you that you probably don't need to go down to half of whatever your number is. Remember, if you've got a number divisible by 4, it's easy to kind of figure this out. My number is 6. I had 68 stitches, and half of my 68 would be 34. Yes, 34, that's right. Okay, well, I knew 34 from previous times. It was too tight. I couldn't get my 1x1 cuff done. Just would be too tight. So I had to stop about 10 stitches before my halfway point, which put me at 44 stitches to start my 1x1 ribbing. So I've just finished the last decrease, And now I'm just going to go ahead. You know, that was, for me, it was at the end of row 4. Like you say, then I'm starting row 1. I'm going to go ahead and do row 1. Just so that I will have those those decreases locked in. I don't have to worry about losing them or, you know, slipping off. So I'm just going to continue. After I did the last decrease, I will continue this row all the way to the marker again. So this is really row 1. One more time for the last time before we go to our double pointed needles. And I'm coming up now. I'm just knitting in the round. I'm down to the number of stitches. For me, it's 44 that I can start my 1-by-1 ribbing to finish up this sweater. Now, this will probably be a long video. But you know what? I'm laying a foundation, because once I lay this, then it's here on the YouTube. And then from now on, I can just say, okay, do the sleeve as we normally do. Okay, do the front pick up as we normally do. You know, I will be able to use this, so I'm not going to worry. And besides, all those that stayed through the seminar, I'm serving cheese and crackers after. You know how they have to bribe you to stay through the seminar? Okay, I'm serving cheese and crackers to all those that, look, stay for the whole seminar. Okay, look, I'm coming up to the last stitch. Yay! Now I'll have my decrease locked in. Okay, so now I want to, and of course you can tell where the beginning of the row, we can definitely see that. So I'm going to take this marker off, because I'm getting ready to go to my number 8 double pointed needles. I used 8 here. I went down one size for my sleeve, and now I'm going to use 8. Now if you go ahead, and I'm going to start picking it up, and if you would just go ahead and pick it up in pattern, it just makes it easier. So I'm going to start with a knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Let's just see. Hope I'm on camera. Let's see about how many stitches I have. You want to always start each needle with a knit. That's the whole idea. So we'll go knit, purl. So I end that needle with a purl. Now I'm going to start with a knit. Knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Let's see, how about one more? Knit, purl. Now one more needle. All right, here we go. Knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Oops. Knit. Oops, there's my string. Knit. And then the last stitch on the last needle, purl. Yay! See? Alright, and of course you can tell where the beginning of the round is, because that's the decrease line, and you can see it plainly. You can mark it with a little mark if you just have to. If you feel like, well, I better mark it anyway. So you can just go ahead and put your little mark in like this. Alright, so now I'm not going to go to a full lesson of how to use double pointed needles, but you know you have to have an extra needle. And I've already set it up so that I know that I'm starting with a knit. And you just go into your 1-by-1 ribbing. Okay, knit, purl, knit, oops, purl, yarn in front, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and purl, knit, and we're going to end this with a purl so that we can always start each needle with a knit. And voila! Now you're just going to continue around, because we can work in a small circumference now because we're on double pointed needles, and you're going to continue around to as long as you want your cuff. I think I went about 3 inches on my cuff. You will bind off in pattern, you know, knit, purl, and that is it. Cheese and crackers. Oh, we'll have some tea and cheese and crackers. Well, this is, like I said, this is a long video for me, but I think, you know, like you say, you have to start. Every journey starts with one step, and you've allowed me for, this is my, what, 3rd year. You asked me to keep coming back and coming back with more and more. Sometimes I can't even keep up with all the requests. But now you have to know eventually things will get, you know, they're going to get harder and harder. But I'm hoping to lay these foundations of, like I say, I'm not an expert. My things are not high end. They're simple. But I guarantee you, if you get it down, you will never be without something to knit. Not ever. As long as you got a stitch book and you understand the basics of how to, you know, use your own numbers. And you notice I use the same numbers all over and over and over. You know, my only problem is, like I said, trying to lose weight. So my numbers can go down and not up. So, you know, that just saves so much time. Same sleeve. Just putting it in different sweaters, different ways. Adding a design next time. We're going to do that, whatever. Just so many different things. We could have added a design coming down, but I didn't have time for all that for this video. I was trying to get in the neck and all of that. I'm telling you, well, like I say, I'm so glad that you returned back to my channel. I'm so glad that for your support, for your encouragement. I thank you so much for all your sweet comments. Like, don't forget now, okay, the whole idea of this, I'm sharing with you to encourage you to step out and do things for yourself and knit and crochet for yourself. Okay. But we also want to see and share with the world what you're doing. And if you go visit my episode number 28, Jay's Friendship Album, episode 28, and see what other people have done off of my, channel, either a knit or crochet design from my channel, just take pictures. Take several pictures. You know, see how they took theirs and see if you can come up with a, you know, just of the project. You know, it needs to be pretty much finished, and send it to me. At the end, it'll tell you what to send and the Gmail address to send it to. We're getting ready. We want to do another Jay's Friendship Album, page 2. I'd like to do it in February. I just thought that would be really pretty. We have some photos, but, you know, I'm afraid that once I put this up, then you're going to go, oh, I didn't get mine in. So I'm trying to tell you, and I'm going to advertise it even more this year. I'm going to advertise it more and more so that you can get it in. So as you finish projects, before you give them away or whatever, take it with your phone, whatever. Take your pictures, go ahead and upload them to the Gmail address in episode 28. And have your picture so we can see. This is not about perfection. This is not about how one looks. No, this is just to show people, look, I made something. I designed something of my own. I can wear it. You know, I have the understanding now. And that's all I'm doing. That's all I want to share. You know, I can't, you know, I don't have the skills, I don't guess, to knit like the, you know, the big name knitters over at other sites. But what I do know and what I'm comfortable in is what I've done for years. And that I freely give. Like I say, the only thing I ask is that you and anyone else always give me credit for my work. I can't say it enough. Give the person credit for their work. I'm the one that set up and knit and unknit and redid and tried to figure out and you know, so I deserve credit. Just as I give credit where credit is due. And I just want to thank you for Let's Start 2016 running. I'm already working on the next one because I have Wendy's beautiful calendar. And don't forget, I am going to put her link at the bottom for you to go down and visit. She's got a blog. She's got all kind of other collections to look at. So, big thank you to Wendy Bentley for her Favorite Things calendar 2016. So, let's finish knitting. I've got my cup to knit. You go ahead, and I hope to see some pictures. I believe it's going to turn out beautiful. So, until we meet again, this is Jay. And this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam, thanking you, and you. Thank you so much as we start this new year. See ya!